Hi everybody, this is Pete Delatorre, the CEO of Camacol Talk, and welcome to another Camacol Talk. Today's program is brought to you by the City of Doral, Baptist Health South Florida, City Place Doral, and Equitable Advisors. This show is a weekly video podcast where we feature our members, our leaders, the business community, and give you up-to-date information and insights on what's going on here in Miami and South Florida. Today's guest is, I think it's perfect timing. We're in the holiday season, and one of the things that we're thinking about is our health and wellness, how we eat, how we maintain ourselves fit. We have today Lucette Talamas, who is the registered dietitian community health for Baptist Health South Florida and the Outpatient Services Division. So let's sit back and let's listen to this conversation. All right, everybody, it's my pleasure to bring to Camacol Talk Lucette Talamas from Baptist Health South Florida. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing terrific, and happy belated Thanksgiving to you and your family and all your colleagues. I hope you had a nice holiday.
Thank you. Likewise. I did have a nice holiday, and I'm happy to be here to talk a little bit about that after holiday feeling.
That after a lot of us are still walking around a little bit bloated and a little bit filled up with not just gratitude, but a lot of intake of food there. Hey, before we get into the conversation and the topic today, and this time of year being the holiday season, and one of the top things people think about is all the parties and all the get-togethers and all the food they're going to eat and all that stuff there. Can you give us a little bit of a short briefing on your impressive background and what motivated you to take this career path?
Sure. So I fell in love with nutrition in college. So I was actually a pre-pharmacy student, and I was working in a pharmacy and taking an intro to nutrition class. And I realized how much I wanted to focus on prevention and wellness instead of, actually treating a lot of diseases. So nutrition, it focuses a lot on prevention and wellness, and also the management of diseases through nutrition and also lifestyle. So I realized food is science, literally, food is like chemistry, and I love the scientific components to ultimately be able to help people to prevent and hopefully manage chronic diseases better.
Absolutely. I just had a health challenge this last summer. Went through, and a lot of your colleagues know I went through prostate cancer, and I got out of that. God's hand was all over that, but it's an awakening in terms of your health, your wellness, and especially what you eat and what you put into your body. I hear about it, about it intellectually, but the other thing is to actually do it and live by and be consistent. So we're in that time of year, as we just mentioned, and the parties are starting up, the get-togethers, the families, the holiday season. Everybody offers so much, so many culinary temptations, as I like to call them. How can we, with all of that going on, how can we stay fit through all of this?
Right. So first, I like to analyze the word temptation, like why we focus so much on foods being a temptation. Because that's definitely a newer area of nutrition focus that I'm personally very passionate about, of just focus on the psychology of eating, like why we create such, barriers or restrictions around certain foods to the point that we call them temptations. Because at the end of the day, what's a bite going to do? You're going to enjoy it. You're
Exactly.
going to enjoy it. Now, the problem here is, when it turns into too many bites and the overeating of any food. But why is something seen as a temptation? Because often then it's listed in this list of restriction, and then that ultimately can create unhealthy behaviors that then cause overeating when you overly restrict, and then you end up giving in. The psychology behind eating, has been definitely a fascinating topic that I like to talk about in order to break these restrictions and technically break temptations, break cheat days.
Hmm.
Part of a healthy lifestyle, in order to, you asked, how can we stay healthy? How can we stay fit with temptations? That's called a healthy lifestyle. So healthy lifestyles, there's ups and downs, it's just all part of the process. versus, being in a black and white area of just I'm on a diet and then I'm off a diet. So, finding the difference between, making sure it's a lifestyle versus a diet. That way it can help you. A lifestyle, a lot of things can fit in a healthy lifestyle. What I like to say is a healthy lifestyle has more of the good stuff and then just less of the other stuff. Like it's a healthy eating pattern is what we would focus on. So there's just higher amounts of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, the foods are good for you. And then the other foods can still fit in there.
You know that as you're talking, I'm thinking about, and it's a great point you just made. Is this mindset of, oh my God, I better not overeat. I better not eat the wrong food. It's not good for me. I think that comment that so many of us make is kind of it has an opposite reaction. You get to the point where you just give up. I go, oh, what the heck, I'm hungry. Let me just eat. Instead of, okay, so let me rephrase this. Instead of trying to prevent and stop doing something, why don't we start doing something that's positive and not look at diets, because diets don't work, as you know. These short-term things don't work. So
Right.
what can we do to change that mindset as to, I want to live a healthy lifestyle, and if I want to do that, these are the things I'm going to need to do because it's all good for me. It's not something like I'm being deprived of, correct?
Exactly. So the mindset, that word, leads to the concept of mindful eating. So mindful eating has been definitely a very big topic, especially lately, because a lot of us face, it's not just the holidays, like it's the pandemic too. It's our lives have
Oh
been
yeah.
changed. Our lifestyle has been changed. Therefore, our food and our eating and our behaviors around food have also changed for a lot of people. So the concept of mindful eating is it's always helpful. I think it's a great tool to keep in the toolbox. It actually does not necessarily focus on the diet. It focuses on, this might sound like a different concept, but your relationship with food. I thought it was a bizarre concept when I first heard that term of like a relationship with food, but we have a relationship with food. As soon as you have, good and bad foods and foods that you feel are too tempting and I'm not going to have that, like once you start creating those lists, it usually happens, in your minds and your behaviors. It could have been how you were raised. So many influences could have created these lists of good and bad foods that, it ultimately affects our relationship with food and then ultimately can affect our behaviors, our eating behaviors. So mindful eating is a practice. It takes time. It's not something you perfect. It's not necessarily something you try and then fail. It's a practice. It's like, you go to the gym once, you're not going to see a result right away. But if you
Right.
keep consistently, consistency is key. And recognize there's ups and downs for everyone, including a dietitian. Like no one's perfect here in this field of nutrition. But we have so many eating occasions. So mindful eating it's a tool you can bring out, if you're eating your 3 meals a day, like there's no such thing as messing up. It's just the next eating occasion you can be a little more mindful, right? Like and that way it's the best weapon, I think, to help us especially survive the holiday season.
Again, as you're talking, I'm thinking about, I don't know if you're a football fan, but there's the offensive side and there's the defensive side. The defensive side is to prevent the other team from scoring. Okay, the
Mhm.
offense, their purpose is to score. And I
Right.
think when it comes to the whole idea of wellness and diet, so many people um, are eating to prevent disease. Okay, why don't we look at eating for our health as opposed to preventing something, right? And I
Right.
think that makes the whole wellness thing a lot easier to navigate. Um, right around the corner, as we all know, is the new year. And what typically happens every year in January 1st, we have New Year resolutions. It happens all the time. And we're starting clean. We have a new year. We're excited. And at the very top of that list is the whole thing about, you know, creating and maintaining a new diet. Um, and a new way of having good health in our lives. What are your suggestions for all of us that do these New Year's resolutions, and every year seems to be the same resolutions? and we start off good the first
So
week, and after that, we forget all about it there. Tell me, why do you believe that happens, in particular when it comes to our diet?
Well, you mentioned a great point. We'll tie it in, and so many times, of course, I work in the field of prevention and wellness mainly, and but the truth is similar to your story. Until something happens medically, a medical scare, that's usually when we see people like ready for that change. So there's behind the psychology of eating, there's a lot of different behavior models, and that click usually does happen when there's a health scare. Some people can jump on the bandwagon of health and wellness as well. And, and the point is, a healthy lifestyle, I wish it would just be called a lifestyle, right? Like the fact we have to highlight it's healthy makes it seem like, but it should just be our lifestyles, one that's already geared towards health and wellness. Now, the new year is also that other time that people can be sparked to make this radical change. And they're like, I'll start January 1st, or maybe also Mondays, like I'll start my diet on Monday.
Yeah, I'll cheat on the weekends.
What's that leading us to? The psychology behind eating shows us that leads usually to more feelings of guilt, more things that don't even have to do with like, with ultimately what we're trying to do, which is like be healthy, but it can lead to more feelings of guilt and just not enjoying food. Mindful eating brings us back to, enjoying our food and our food experiences and savoring our food. But when it comes to the January 1st, New Year's resolution, I think the time to start is now. Like whenever you feel ready to start, the time to start is now. And it doesn't have to be this huge change. And that's where usually people might set themselves up for failure when they take
Yes.
a radical change from one day to the next. And who knows how long that can last, if at all. When in reality, what we know works is like small steps. So the time to change would be now. Focus on the mindset, not the diet. Focus on the lifestyle mindset. Recognize there's ups and downs and changes in routine, but you can still focus on better behaviors that are, food related for you.
I couldn't agree with you more regarding, January 1st is that magical date. But as far as I know, today being whatever date it is, there are going to be 12 months in front of this, right? No matter what. So it's the big setup and for a failure, I think, because we put so much pressure into that. And if we don't do things perfectly, like that first week, and we slip, then we go right back to our old behavior again. And that's where we all get in trouble, and everything to do with our wellness. As we wrap it up, Lucette, can any final parting comments you'd like to share with the viewers and listeners?
Yeah, as we've been talking about a healthy lifestyle and nutrition, just recognize nutrition looks different for everyone. We've been using the word like healthy eating. A lot of people say they eat healthy, and everyone's diets would look really, really different when you actually analyze what they actually eat. So, just focus on one small change at a time. Aim for that healthy eating pattern. We all know the basics of eating more vegetables, eating fruits, eating our whole grains, lean proteins, watching our portions, trying to cook a little bit more at home versus, picking up food consistently. There's a lot of healthy habits that we can work on, and it will look different for everyone. And embrace the journey. There's ups and downs, but it's part of the journey to eating healthier and overall becoming a healthier you.
Lucette, you have inspired me. I'm going to make sure that this holiday season I listened and I remember this interview, because that's going to keep me on. And so that January 1st, when that comes, it'll be a piece of cake, because I've already would have started something during the typically toughest time of the year to change your eating. So I want to thank you and everyone. I want to wish you and your family and everybody a happy holiday season and healthy holiday season.
Likewise, Pete, I wish you a very healthy holiday season, and I hope you mindfully enjoy the foods that you want to enjoy.
I love that. Thank you so much. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye. There you have it, everybody. If you are looking at getting fit for 2022, I hope you listen to these great insights from our guest today. I want to thank you for being with us on every one of these shows. You're writing to us, you're sending us your comments and feedback. Keep them coming. They're very important. I I want to thank all of our sponsors once again who are with us and supporting us on this journey. Well, for all of you, keep yourselves focused. It is the end of the year. You still have an opportunity to make it happen. Just get focused and concentrated, and you'll see what develops for you. You take care of yourselves, and God bless.